Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Thank you, Jimena. Good timing, by the way. Today on the show, we have the one and only Ben Hong. Ben, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. So, for those of you who are not aware, Ben just joined the team that I'm on at Netlify. So we have been coworkers for the last couple of months. It's been a pure delight. Ben is one of the nicest people I know. But for those of us who don't have the pleasure of working with you, do you want to give us a little bit of a background?
Yeah, sounds great. Hi everyone. As Jason mentioned, so I work on the DX team at Netlify, but you might know me from some of my other work in open source. So I'm on the VueJS core team, and so contribute primarily on the docs and on other projects such as VuePress. And so as far as a little bit about me, so I don't have a computer science background. I have a psychology, studied psychology in college, and kind of took a real roundabout way to get into tech. And so this was prior to boot camps and stuff, and it's been a real interesting journey, sort of progressing along that, being self-taught and all. So glad to be here.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for what we're doing today because we're stepping outside of my comfort zone. I don't do a lot of Vue programming, but today we're going to learn Vue. And so I've seen, we've had like Maya's been on the show to teach Vue. Divya has been on the show to teach Vue. We've done some work with Nuxt, with Gridsome. But I feel like whenever I look at Vue, I feel like I almost get it. And so today I'm really excited because we're diving right into just the beginner level stuff. We're going to walk through, this is what Vue is, this is why you should use it. And I think this is going to be really, really useful for me especially, and I hope that for everybody watching, this is going to be really useful for you. But maybe we should start first with just a general philosophical question, which is, why would I use Vue?
Yeah. So as far as getting started with Vue, one of my sales pitches with Vue is actually, I think it has one of the fastest onboarding times, I think, of the frameworks, because what Vue aims to do really is leverage your existing knowledge of HTML, CSS, and basic JavaScript and get you up and running as quickly as possible. Okay. Whereas so the way people see Vue oftentimes is it sort of took the best of what people loved about Angular and then what it learned from React and sort of brought a lot of the things together. And so for those reasons, it has a lot of sort of shared learning concepts and things that make it really accessible to a lot of people who might not otherwise be able to get into frameworks. Okay. And so for me, the proverbial example of this, I taught a workshop one time where a designer who hadn't coded for like 5 years and who thought she wouldn't be able to keep up in the workshop, she had a Vue app up and running within the hour, just like building fun things along with it. Yeah, so I think that's partly speaks to like the approachability that Vue sort of provides upfront.
Yeah, that's I do think that that's something that, like, what I do really like about Vue is I love the idea of single file components. I love that most of what I see in Vue looks like code I've seen before. And I see the chat. I said, why should you use Vue? And Gornash said, because it's awesome. And I agree, actually. Everything that I've seen from Vue, I've been really impressed with. So when you're talking about that approachability, what do you think it is about Vue that makes it so approachable? Like, as opposed to, because I see what you mean. Like, I know when I was learning React, it felt like a lot of the React stuff that I was learning was learning React. It wasn't like, this is the stuff you already know. In JavaScript, it's like, no, this is React. When you write React, there are these rules and these rules and these rules and this special concept and these special functions. Are you saying that Vue has less of that or none of that, or what should we expect to learn that's Vue specific?
Yeah, so the way I like to think of it is that Vue sort of takes what works really well about React as far as like being able to get in the weeds of like, so one of the things that we'll get into later, but you can use JSX and render functions in Vue, but at the same time with single file components, you have that initial approachability of just having that HTML. So directives are one example of like abstracting away something that's really common, such as looping through elements, and just making it really easy for people to declaratively do that within their markup.
And a directive is like, when I've looked at sample code, it's like the V-4. That's a directive.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so basically like sprinkling a little bit of magic HTML attributes to just superpower what you have and do some pretty awesome things with it. That taking care of those usual scenarios like hiding things and those sort of things. And we'll be talking through some of that later.
Gotcha. Cool. Very cool. Well, I think that might be as good a point as any to switch over and start taking a look at this stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go follow Ben on Twitter. He is BenCodeZen pretty much everywhere. Also, this show is being live captioned. It's available at lwj.dev/live. That live captioning is provided by White Coat Captioning. And we've got Rachel today helping us out. So thank you so much, Rachel. The captioning is made possible through the sponsorship of Netlify. Ooh, my sponsors are out of date. Okay, it's through Netlify, Fauna, Hasura, and Auth0. So I apologize for getting that out of date. We got Hasura as a new sponsor, which I am so excited about. I love Hasura. It's one of my favorite tools. We're actually going to do a little bit of Hasura today. So, stay tuned for that. But thank you to them. They help make the show more accessible to more people, which I am just thrilled about. So, with that being said, you're now, I assume, dear chat, following Ben on Twitter. You've checked out the live captioning. You've checked out the sponsors. And now we're ready to learn some Vue. So I'm on the Vue website. What should I do first?
Well, right now you're actually on the Vue 2 website. So we're going to want to click on the banner up top for the V3 documentation because we're going to dive into Vue 3 today.
Okay.
And so, for those who are like, the first question people ask, like, oh, so does this mean like the stuff I learned in Vue 2 is out of date? I'm happy to tell you that Vue 3 keeps most of the concepts from Vue 2, basically, but it makes it smaller and more performant. So you don't lose out on the mental models you're used to in Vue 2.
Nice.
You get new features on top of it.
Excellent. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do then, my instinct is to click this Get Started button.
Yep, that's right. Go and click on that.
All right. This doesn't help me. What is that? What is that?
It's supposed to help you with the pronunciation, but it doesn't help me either. That's why we have the like Vue
I appreciate
right next
that.
to it for those of us who don't read. The Elfish script dialect.
Yeah, I do love pronunciation guides, like with actual pronunciation, like when it's, what is it, phonetic spelling, or there's an actual name for this that I can't remember. And sometimes I get it. Like I know the sound that the upside down E makes. I do not know what this sound is. Okay, so installation, we've got. Okay, all right. So I think normally what I would do is I would read through this, but today I'm going to let you be my getting started guide. So what's the first thing that I should do?
All right. So for those watching, typically, so the docs we spend a lot of time on. So as you have questions, honestly, it's basically a course written out for you. Vue spends a lot of time dedicated to those docs. So if you find anything questionable, we have architected it in a way that like really gets you the essentials to get started. And so a lot of people, we found that even if you just give them 30 minutes with the doc, can basically get up and running. So this alone is a huge resource for you to keep in mind. But as far as installation, one of the first things, so there are two primary ways that people use Vue. One you'll hear, especially in the docs, we use the CDN. So we just drop a script tag on index.html. And so we use that as a way of making it approachable to people who might not be used to build tools.
Right.
But by no means is this how people typically build production level apps.
Sure.
And so for those wondering why we have a CDN, it's primarily for like, when you're doing legacy migrations, that you're not ready to necessarily like move everything to a build tool, then CDN is a really great way to just slowly enhance it and sort of sprinkle and slowly migrate towards that.
That makes sense.
And so today we're going to use the Vue CLI to scaffold our app, which we have the docs open in the next tab over. So that's
okay. So this is cli.vuejs.org. So I'm going to drop that. Wait, Phil is here to troll us. What is this, Phil?
Phonetic spellings are often very useful in dictionary definitions.
Well played, Phil. Well played. I actually am just now realizing that you spent the time to get this out as a... Wait, did you just get this out of a dictionary, or did you take the time to phonetically translate this? I'm too upset to wait. So we've got the Vue CLI docs, and
Yep.
all right. So there's another get started button. Let's do that. I'm going to get started.
Yep. And so
Documentation
this
for Vue
provides
CLI.
some high level overview. And so the main thing most people would want to get is the installation is probably where most people are interested in.
Okay. So let me do this.
Yep. Sounds
Boom.
good.
All right. We're installing the Vue CLI, and this should happen hopefully pretty quickly. We'll see. And while we're waiting for that, I'm actually we put together a little bit of like prep work on this, or I should say you put together prep work after we talked about what would be a fun thing to do.
Yes.
And so what we have here that I'm very excited about is a small dictionary of nostalgic toys, like things that when I was a wee one, I wished that I had these. So this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza thrower. I always wanted one of these. X-Men Cyclops action figure, a Furby, Beast Wars, Beast Wars and Transformers.
You got to represent both sides, you know.
Getting spoiled over here. Bop It Extreme, yeah, Bop It. I never won that game. A Tamagotchi. I have a graveyard of Tamagotchis in my past. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, a Super Soaker, Pokemon cards, Magic Mitt. Magic Mitt, that was the one with the it was like a dinner plate with Velcro on it, right?
Yes, that is a great way of describing it. Dinner plate with Velcro on it.
And then a Nerf blaster, which I was never allowed to have because my mom wisely knew that as soon as I had one of those, I would lose every single dart.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Okay, so this is this is gonna work. I think this will be good. So what we're gonna do is then we have images for each of these, and so these images are out here.
Yep.
Cool. Then I think hopefully at this point we're installed,
Hopefully.
Which means
Fingers crossed.
Vue is installed, and if I get the version,
Great.
we're at 4.5.7, which I
That's
think
fine.
is
We're
close
good.
enough. I think I might have
Yes.
this globally installed somewhere else as well and have issues.
Yeah.
We'll live with it. Okay, so I'm in
All
this.
right.
I'm in this directory. I've got our data JSON with the toy names, the images, and just to read me, what should I do next?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you two ways of getting set up. So,
Okay.
like all good CLI tools, I'm going to show you the default way, which is if you do Vue space create, and then with the dot, that'll tell you to create the application in the current directory.
Okay.
And you hit enter.
Is this going to explode because I already have a Git directory in here?
No, it should be fine. It should know how to respect that. At least
Wow.
it hasn't blown up my stuff in the past.
Why, yes,
So,
I would
yep,
like
we
to
could
generate
say,
in the current
Why,
directory.
yes, we would.
Vue 3.
All right, so don't worry about that. So let's do the manually select features. So I think that's something worth showing people.
Okay.
So when you hit enter, you see that you can scroll down and basically choose the various options you want to configure. And if you hit spacebar, that will toggle the different things that you get.
Cool.
So if you want to have TypeScript, progressive, router, those sort of things. And so let's, for example, turn on like CSS preprocessors.
Okay.
That's one, for example.
Thank you for the sub, Andy.
And then if you hit enter now.
We don't need anything else, right?
No, we don't need anything else for now.
Okay.
But actually, we're not even going to finish this because I got to show you the other way. Okay, then we would choose like 3x, for example.
Okay. Do you want me to
so
keep doing this, or do you want me to quit?
So this, I think, shows you the general what you can configure. And so the other thing that at the end worth noting is that you can save the preset. So once you have like manually configured it, you can say like, this is like my JSON preset. For example, so if you hit enter on that, choose any one of those.
Darts at Notes app?
Yep.
Sure.
Notes as is fine. Yeah. And then you can choose your ESLint settings, whichever one you prefer. And then, and you can either lint on save or lint on fix and commit. So that'll help with that. Either package.json or dedicated config files.
And then you can save it as a preset.
You can actually save the preset.
Nice. Now I want to quit this.
We're going to do, so Control C.
Okay. And it didn't do anything.
Now I'm going to show you. It didn't show it. Now everything's fine. We're going to talk about a feature that most people actually don't know about Vue CLI. So I want you to type Vue space UI. And then hit enter.
Oh, it opened the wrong browser. One moment.
Oh no,
Over
wrong
here.
browser.
There we go.
All right, so let's full screen this, or well,
up.
yeah.
Thank you for the sub, Cecilia.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new project. Yep, click right there. And then, so we're already in the Vue 3 directory, as you can see here. So this is actually a full browser, file explorer that you can do. But we'll click the create new project button on the bottom.
Okay.
And then let's go ahead and I think we can leave it blank actually, because
it's
we
already here, right?
We want, or actually it looks like might be forcing it, but that's fine. So choose your whichever one you prefer, and let's just add. Looks like we do need to add a name, or let's just type app for now. I don't know why it's doing that, but it's fine. We can move everything over manually. Okay. Just type app, and we'll just move everything in a bit, and then we'll do yep, and then you hit next. And so let's go ahead, and this time we can do the preset. Although actually, you know what I want you to do? Scroll down. I do want you to add a preprocessor, because I'm going to show people that in a little bit.
So manual.
So let's do manual.
Okay.
And then you hit next. And then this time, so those are turned on. Yep, we're good there. Let's add the CSS preprocessor. Great. And then that's all we need for now for this one.
Okay.
And then let's use Node Sass like we did before.
This is extremely cool.
Oh, it's just the beginning.
Thank you for the cheers.
And let's create the project.
Preset name. I'm not going to save this.
Don't worry about it. Yep, don't worry about saving it.
Oh man, people are cheering. Thank you all so much.
Scaffold everything.
I'm kind of blown away. Ooh, we're level 2 on the hype train. Choo choo. I still don't 100% get the hype train, but I know that I get real excited every time it happens, so it's working. Oh, and in the background, it's doing stuff. Look at that.
It's actually setting stuff up. Yeah.
This is really what's really exciting about this is if I'm understanding this correctly, this isn't actually doing anything other than running CLI commands for us, but it presents a UI so that we don't have to, so that we're able to kind of visually manage this. Is that right?
That's just the beginning, Jason. That's just the beginning.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So if we look at the window here, you see that we're now inside the project dashboard. And I don't know about you all, but I never remember the command to kill ports. And sometimes you just have things that are just running. And so that's conveniently there for you, that in case you have something on 3000 or whatever that you just can't seem to kill.
Look, you can click this button to get up all here. We'll be there in an hour.
Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and on the left-hand side, click on the plugins icon.
Plugins.
Yep, there you go. So what it actually shows you is all the different dependencies you have installed, and you can manage all your dependencies from here. So you can actually add it. You can see that you can go straight to the docs, tells you what the latest version is. And also, so basically you can manage your plugins in a visual way and get meta information that you might not be able to get otherwise through a normal package.json.
This is outstanding.
And then let's go to the next icon. I think if I have the right one in my mind.
Here's all my dependencies.
Oh, that's dependencies. Okay, that's fine. That we can deal with later. Let's go to the gear icon. So in here, if you click on the ESLint configuration, yep. So you can. So I don't know about you all. So if we look at go into the rules in the tab in the top.
What?
Yes. You can configure all your ESLint rules without memorizing that. Like, is it 2? Is it error warning? Which one do I want?
I'll say, having to memorize those has actually just led me to not. I just use ESLint as a way to run prettier. That's like where I've landed on ESLint.
So so this allows you to do basically all your configurations from here in a way that doesn't have you memorizing syntax and looking at docs to do things such as, again, whether you want indents, semicolons, whatever.
That is absolutely fascinating. That just well done. And this was Guillaume, right?
Yeah, Guillaume did this. Mm-hmm.
That's just really good work. Like really solid all the way around.
Yeah, we love the Vue UI. It's fortunate more people don't know about it. So let's actually start up our local web dev server, though. This is the final touch that I'd like to add.
Okay.
So that's actually all the way down to the clipboard for scripts.
Tasks. Got it.
Tasks. There you go. And we're gonna run the serve command. But before we click away, though, we're gonna click the run task.
Okay.
And then
I can see things happening down here. It's building. It's idle. What?
All right. And then if you scroll down, you'll see that we have some basic speed stats based on your build. Again, this is a sort of standard algorithm stuff, but then you actually see all the different assets you have and how they relate to one another as far as what's taking up the most space. And so if you click on the analyzer next to the dashboard, you'll see that there's actually even a visualizer for you in case you want to be like, what's taking up so much space? And you can click into it and be like, oh, Lodash is taking up, oh, I imported the whole Lodash. I only wanted one part of Lodash. So this kind of stuff is here for you. And this is just the stuff they had come up with for Vue 2. So I look forward to what the team does for more Vue 3 enhancements on this going forward. But this is all available for everyone already. And you can use it with your Vue apps already.
I'm just kind of like low-key mad at everyone for not telling me about this earlier.
But here we go. We have our Vue app. It is now up and running. And I think now we can officially dive into some of the Vue stuff. But yeah, that's your Vue CLI dive in.
That is legit. Like, I'm taken aback because it's just like, I feel like there's this area, there's this space between the tools that exist and the people who use them, and there's a level of thought and care that typically gets skipped because we're like, it works, it's good enough, let's go. And this feels like someone said, it works, but it could be better. And took that extra level of thought and care to go and build an experience that is like actually embracing the idea that somebody might be using these tools for the first time. And that's one thing that I think is kind of absent in a lot of the JS ecosystem, is that, you know, you'll go out there and every project is using Webpack and Babel and ESLint, and they just kind of assume that you're going to go to the Webpack docs to read how that works. And this is really outstanding. Like, just well done to the whole team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the things I try to push. Like, one of the things I think that also makes Vue great is because it is an open source project that has no real no corporate backing. It is designed by the community for the community. And so what a lot of people don't know too is that the core team is basically made up of volunteers.
Yeah.
So I think there may be besides Evan, there may be one or two that's full time, but most of us are just volunteers who just love the work that we do and just want to help make the ecosystem better. So it ends up with some nice, like, just sort of different priorities when it comes to building features out.
Absolutely. Things. That's, I mean, yeah. You've won my heart. Now let's go win my mind.
All right, sounds good. Let's do this. Okay, so let's open up VS Code, and rather than let's have you move the images and the data JSON into app for now. I think that'll be the easier thing.
Okay.
So if we move the images and JSON, into public, I think would be the easiest place to put it. Because Vue by default will serve everything in public as like a static path. So it's just like basically the relative path. And nothing in here will get parsed through Webpack. So we'll use that to call things later on. So I think with that, we are good to go from like a getting started perspective.
Yeah. So then we've got this here is our hello world. And if I go into, let's see, it pulls in our hello world component, so I can look at that. And I'm just going to change out, let's see, I can change the message here. So let's change this message to instead say, hi chat. And this is running, so it's already updated. So I'm going to actually pull these over here so that we can work on this. What a nice little getting started flow. So what should we do next?
Yeah. So, for those who are seeing this for the first time, as Jason mentioned, these are single file components and they're represented by that .vue extension. And so what's different about this compared to most things, as you can see, is we have our HTML here, our template block, script, which contains our JavaScript, and our style block on the bottom, which contains our CSS. And so what you've noticed there is that by default, since we included Sass as a preprocessor, is that Vue already has a pen in that. And so these are ways you can basically customize the preprocessor you're applying to the blocks. So if you're using TypeScript, for example, your script would have a lang of TS. If you like pug in your template, you could do lang pug. And so in this regard, to me, this is what I think speaks a lot to the Vue ethos, is that it lets you choose what's like best for your team and doesn't impose those restrictions on you. So that if you're not ready for TypeScript yet, you don't have to use it. But if you want to, it's there for you and you can reach for it when that time comes.
Right. And this is the sort of thing, like if we go in here and create a paragraph tag, and then we create like a button, then in our styles down here, I can just style this paragraph tag and we'll say, color red or something. But then I can nest inside of this and do something like this. It's going to be really good looking.
Yep.
I forgot to add actual text in our paragraph. But so we get red text and a blue background in our button, and it's a highly inaccessible, like garbage piece of code, but we've immediately got set up with like the Sass nesting. And so any buttons outside of a paragraph wouldn't actually get styled, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So I'll clean that up. And now we're about 30 minutes in. So our goal today is to turn this from the default Vue app into a nostalgic wish list. So if I guess maybe the first thing that we want to do is just kind of build our own component and not use the hello world, right?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and let's naming conventions don't really matter here, right?
Nope.
Okay, so
typically we recommend avoiding one word so you don't conflict with the HTML spec, but otherwise it's basically free reign.
So let's call this, what about capitalization?
Yeah, capitalization is, so you see that hello world there, the Pascal case, it actually automatically, if you switch to kebab case, it automatically does it. It'll identify it correctly. So your team can once again choose what makes most sense for your team rather than.
So like I'm a kebab case kind of, I'm a kebab case kind of person. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
And then from here, if I look in here, I can just start with a template, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's the beautiful thing about Vue single file components is you can just include the thing that matters to you.
Oops. Yes. And then
which one?
So I've got an H1. And then
great.
I'm going to come out here. I'm going to get the wish list from wish list, and then we'll swap this out, and I don't need a message anymore, so I guess I can drop that for now. Then hey, look at it go.
Boom.
So I'm going to clean up this logo as well.
Go for it.
All right, and I'm going to delete this hello world because we don't need it.
Please do.
Okay, we're we're done, right?
Yeah, we're done. That's it. We can close up shop.
Okay. So the first thing that I would reach for if I was at this point in the app is I've got that JSON file with all the information. So my first instinct would be to import that. So in Vue, I can just import it? Is there anything magic that I need to do?
Well, so the only thing is you would want to open up your script block since the Vue file is doing parsing. So it basically only knows what language to use once you've encapsulated it. So so once we have the script block, outside of our export default, we can import our our data. You can name it whatever you want.
From
gifs from.
And do I go into public or do I go like root?
To do the relative paths, you can do .. I believe. Yep. And then there you go. And then go to, oh wait, one more time. And then public. Yeah. So there is an alias with the @ symbol, but I usually like to just do the relative just because it's more explicit.
No, and that makes sense to me. I was actually wondering if it was going to force me to do something because this public directory gets handled differently. I wasn't sure if it was going to have me do something different.
No, at this point you should be good.
Okay,
it's when we want to call it from the template, like, you know, the image, for example, that's when we wouldn't want to do a relative path because it'll literally follow that path.
Gotcha.
Cool. So now that we're at this point, we need to learn about the data store for Vue. So inside of our object, so Vue allows you to define these options that basically handle scenarios for you. And so if we, so the option we want right now is data. And so we type data, and then, so it's going to be a function though. So we need it to be a function that returns an object. So in this regard, it's similar to React in that we want to make sure that it's being kept. Yep. So if you just wrap that in parentheses, perfect. Yep. There we go. And so gifs, yep. And just save it like that. And so what this means is now Vue is now keeping track of this gifs data property. And will basically, if any changes happen, any dependencies will update accordingly.
Cool.
So if you just want to render that on the screen, let's go and open up a p tag underneath our h1. And then so Vue uses handlebar syntax. So we'll just need the, paragraph tag, not the pre.
Oh, I got you.
Or pre works too. Actually, either way works.
Like that?
And then just save it. Yep.
Hey, there's our list.
There's our list.
Very cool. Okay. So that's exciting. What are you yelling at me about? The template root requires exactly one element.
So I think that's an old ESLint thing. Right now you're in Vue 3, so that I think that it's not pulling in the latest one for whatever reason. On VS Code. So
we can fix that. I can go here.
You could.
And I can go to my rules. And let me make this bigger so that I can see what's going on.
If we search for multi-line, I think that's what we're looking for. Root element. Sorry, it's probably the rule is probably root. Yep. Disallows. Yep. And then it should be off. Save changes. Boom. So it's off by default,
I wonder if it's
needs to might need to restart the server.
Oh wait, ESLint. Yes. Allow. It could very much just be my. It's probably my setup causing problems. Let me. ESLint. Oh no! Why don't you just stop? I don't know. We'll assume like this is almost assuredly my ESLint like VS Code config, not the CLI.
Yeah.
Because it probably pulled in some default a long time ago, and I don't know where it is or why. Because I think I have like a Vue thing in here.
There probably is an extension in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've ran into it randomly sometimes. But to answer Linda's question, so one of the new things about Vue 3 is that you no longer require to have that single root element, and you're allowed to have multi-root components, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do it. So we'll just ignore it, and everything will be fine.
So everything will be fine.
So back to our files.
Right.
We've got our wish list, ignoring you, and now we've got a list of GIFs. And so then I would want to loop through these. And so
that you would.
My JavaScript brain makes me want to do a map. And I assume that's not how this works.
That is not how this works. Okay. So the way to think of this is based on how you want your HTML to be structured. So I think it goes content first. So would you want to do an unordered list or an ordered list?
Yeah, let's do an unordered list. So we'll mock it up here. And then the way that I see that working, we would have a list item. And in each list item, we would want, what's in our data?
So there's the label,
and there's the
image
votes,
and the vote count.
Okay, so let's go with, we'll go with like an H2, and that would be our label.
Okay.
And then in here, we would want an image tag, and that would be our image. And alt, we can reuse the label
Yep.
And then we would want a current count. So I guess just like a number tag.
Yeah, just a paragraph, I think. Yeah, I think that'd be good.
And then ideally, we want a button to wish for this.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Great. So we saved that. We should see that on the page.
Okay. So these are all broken because I didn't use actual image tags or anything, but the markup's there.
All right. So we're good on the static side. And so now we're going to add, this is where we're going to introduce Vue directives.
Okay.
So what we want to loop through is that li element. So inside of our opening li tag, we're going to add the v-4 element. And so this in here, you're going to do equals. And so what's in here now is your JavaScript expression for what you're looping through. And so in this regard, we're looping through, basically it uses the in syntax for looping. So it'll be, so we can say like gift in gifts, correct? Okay. And so we can see here, Vue knows that you're basically almost always referring to some sort of reactive property. So it doesn't require you to, so that's how it knows that gifts refers to the gifts that you define inside of script.
Okay. And then once I have that, I should be able to just do this, right?
Yep, gift.label, yep.
And then does Vue want me to keep these quoted or unquote them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so think of it like this. Right now, because it's still normal HTML, but what we need now is we want it to be dynamic. And so this is where we introduce the vbind directive. So if you do v-bind : on whatever attribute you actually want to change, that is what your indicator is as far as what's going to be JavaScript. And
so like this
there
thing?
You go. Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
That's exactly. Yep. And then you vbind your alt.
Okay, I'm with you. And then for this one, we don't need to bind it, so we can just gift.
Nope.
Dot, was it vote count or regular?
I think I called it
votes. Okay.
Votes. Oh yeah, right. It could be...
Okay. Oh, I broke something. What did I break?
Oh, don't worry. That's the key. We'll take care of that in a second. So right now, so here's the thing, right? So it's just like React. Because it's rendering the different elements, you want to assign it some sort of unique key. That would allow Vue to do its optimization. So to the right of the v-for loop, so actually it's just key. So you want to v-bind : key is what you want to do. v-bind
key :
yep. And then I already included an ID in there, so you can do gift.id. But something that well, there you go. We're already starting to see things, so this is good.
Nice. So just to get this to stop yelling at me, I'm going to wrap the whole thing in a div.
Yes, sounds good. Let's,
because I don't want it to look like this is broken.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like we have a small problem, which is that these image URLs, I think, are not. Yeah, correct. we need to prefix with that images.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go back. So one thing I want to make note of. So all the vbind that we see in here, right? This is actually pretty verbose. Especially when you start using it a lot. So we can actually delete the vbind from all of them and just prepend each attribute with a colon. And that is the shortcut to basically let Vue know and other people know that now it's dynamically bound.
Ooh, okay. All right, I'm into that.
That's a syntactic sugar. So, okay. So now what we need to do though is we need the image to have a path, right? And so what we can do is let's use ES6 template literals inside of our source. So we'll do the backtick to wrap around the gift image. So actually within the, you still need the double quotations in order to indicate that it's a JavaScript expression.
Oh, okay.
So
we
need those back in.
This kind of thing?
Yes, there you go. Yep.
Oh wait, images.
Yes.
Yeah, look at it go.
Boom. Magic.
Oh, the waves of nostalgia washing over me. This is delightful. Look at that thing. Wait, this is a different Bop It. Oh, it's Bop It Extreme.
This is the Extreme Bop It.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Okay. So then we need to style this up a little bit so we can.
Yeah.
Are these scoped or how does CSS work?
Yeah. I was just about to get to that. You're reading my mind, Jason. So let's go ahead and give this a class. What do we want to call it? You want to call it like gift grid or something?
Like wish list or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll just style directly to these elements because we've got Sass. We can do that. Haha.
We can.
So we'll go style, and it was lang SCSS was the way to tell it to parse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you could do like SASS if you prefer, but I think most of us use SAS.
I don't know how to do SAS. I only know SCS.
Yeah, that's my preferred CSS preprocessor too.
Okay, so now
we do dot wish list.
Wish list. We'll make this display grid, and then we can go grid template columns. You're being real helpful.
12 items.
You gave me 12 items. Okay, so what we can do is repeat auto fit. And we'll make them like 150 pixels. What does that do? Nope. Element is missing end tag.
What did it not like? Oh, did we not close something off?
Oh, that's my bad. I just typoed.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So I screwed that up real bad. Oh,
I think
15
it's 15 pixels.
That would do it. And then I need
better. So we need the image to grid.
And then down here we need our image to be with 100%.
Yep.
Okay, we're getting closer. Getting closer. Let's make our H2 much smaller. So we'll go font size like just whatever the default size is. Let's
maybe a grid column gap.
List style of none. And we also want to reset the padding on that list item. So we'll go with a padding of 0.
Yeah.
And good call on the gap. So we can set a gap of 1 rem. Okay, that's looking okay. All right. Let's line these up in the middle. So we'll justify content center. Beautiful.
Look at
and
that.
Now, as we drag this in and out, what we should get, automatically responsive grid.
Nice. Beautiful. All right. So now I want to talk a little bit about how we manage CSS in Vue, because this is something that a lot of people don't. So right now, as you might imagine, since this is just a normal style, this will be brought into the global scope. So anything else with .wish list, so we inspect the element. You'll see right now that it's just a normal CSS class, but this means now it can bleed into everything else. And so, when it comes to component architecture, we want to try to scope our CSS just to encapsulate what's going on. And so what most people know who develop in Vue is if you add the scoped attribute to your style right now, so let's go ahead and go to VS Code.
Write scoped?
Yep, just add scope and save it. What you'll see now, if you actually inspect, yep, there we go. You'll see that Vue has now added a data attribute to our HTML element. And if we look at the actual CSS.
And look at this.
So now it automatically appends that to your CSS.
Yeah.
And so this is really good in what most people use, but I think for those of us who've used CSS a lot, this still doesn't protect us from high specificity and like basically a lot of side effects when it comes to commonly used names.
Right.
And so the other one I've been trying to introduce people to more so is CSS modules.
Yes.
So we swap out the scoped to module. We'll need to do one more thing though.
Okay.
Is once we save, and then let's go up to the top inside of where we were using the class. So we need to now v-bind the class. So we prepend it with that colon.
That's all?
Yep. And then before the wish list, we need to access a global style object. And so it'll be $style.wishlist. And I know for those of us who write CSS a lot, this feels a little icky because it feels like JavaScript, but I assure you the payout's worth it. So when we save it, you'll see something pretty interesting is going to happen. So we open, is it refreshed? There we, something.
Yeah, it's here.
There it is. Yes. Okay. So you'll see Vue has now done something really interesting, which is it has prepended your CSS class with the component that it comes from, along with the unique hash as part of the CSS class name. So it's basically made it possible now for you to truly scope your CSS in a way that basically it'll never, ever have conflicts.
Yeah, and so CSS modules are something that I'm a huge fan of. And my major reasoning for it is that I don't want a lot of rules in my CSS. I don't want to have to remember to use like BEM or any of those like smacks, those kind of like very verbose class names. and I don't want to have to memorize a bunch of utility classes like in Tailwind or OOCSS or any of the approaches that we've seen there. So from my standpoint, what I like about CSS modules is they give you the security of something like BEM, where you know that the class is going to be unique, you know that all those things are happening, but you also get that flexibility of just being able to write CSS and not being it's like I don't mean that to say like I don't like Tailwind, but personally I would prefer to write CSS over trying to assemble tokens. That's the way my brain works. I've been writing CSS for a long time, so I get more frustrated by the tokens than by trying to remember what a CSS property is. And so this is really exciting to me because when you get to write a module, I get to do it the way I want to. I call the class wishlist. That makes sense. If I have 50 components and all 50 of them have a wrapper, I get to call that wrapper in every single one of them. And I never have to worry about conflicts because they're always scoped out like this. And I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, and I've seen CSS modules handled a number of different ways, and I really love the way the Vue CLI handles it. Is because by giving you something that's actual, like human readable, and not just a hash, because that's one approach, is to just make all your CSS classes hashes. Is that when it comes to debugging production, you're basically you're out of luck because you have no idea what's coming from. Whereas with this, you not only get the .wish list that you use, but you get the component that it's coming from. So it makes especially on an enterprise level application where you might have a billion things called .button. That makes your job just so much easier for figuring out where to start debugging things.
Yeah.
And that to me is what good tooling is about, is helping us when things go wrong.
Yes. And Amer, the difference between a module and scope is that when we do it scoped, if I go back up here, and I'll just be able to undo all this really quickly. Yep. So notice how the module has this customized class name instead of using .wishlist. If I save it as scoped, it keeps the regular class name and then uses the data attribute. And so this is good, but I could still break this if somewhere else in my app I was to do like wishlist.wishlist. It would break my app, right? And so it's not actually scoped to this module. I can go in and break this. So by using the module, when I save this, then I can go in and I can do something like .wishlist. And now my bad decisions elsewhere can't break this module. Hey, what's up, Chris? Thank you for coming by. I hope Advent of Code was fun today. Welcome, everyone. We are building a nostalgic holiday gift list in Vue today. So thus far, what we've covered is we got into the Vue CLI. We looked to the fact that the Vue CLI actually has a whole UI attached to it, which is incredible. So check this out. Right now, we're running our serve command from a UI, and it's running here. So I can actually like turn off the server and all this stuff. And we can see this whole breakdown of everything that's happening. Like very cool. So I assume this here is because we're using unbundled things.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll fix that later when we actually like build it.
Right, because it's all local right now.
But then we've got our list here being pulled in from our data.json. There's a list of images here, and we've rendered those out on the page using this wish list component by importing them, adding them to our data, and then we use Vue directives to loop over the GIFs.
Yep.
To display them on the page.
Yeah.
And then we're styling them with scoped styles, or CSS modules, in fact, which I'm very excited about. This is all very exciting.
Yeah. And so there's one other feature I'd actually like to show that I think would be helpful in sort of also showing an important Vue concept that might not be as common in some of the other frameworks. So what I want you to do, Jason, is under your H1, we're going to add a text input. And so form, as we know, like as developers, forms are something we deal with a lot. And so we can imagine, though, what if we wanted to be able to filter this wish list and basically see what the heck's going on? And so, right, you want to be able to track that.
Yep.
And so what we're going to do is inside of our data store that we have in our script, let's add a new property, and let's call that like filter text, or user input, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And then we'll just make that an empty string. Yep, and just leave it like that. And so here we want to create that filter text. We want it to be reactive so that anytime the user types into the text box, we want it to update the data store, right? This is fairly common.
Got it.
And so in React, for example, you would probably need to bind like an input event and then or a key up, and then have that then update your state accordingly. And so since this is such a common occurrence, basically Vue helps you out here with the vModel directive. And so if you, inside of the input that we have up in our HTML, if we do v-model and then equals, and then in this case, we called it filter text. So basically we're telling it what data we want it to update. What we're going to do here is under the input, let's just render out filter text so we can see it update live for everyone. And then if it's broken, then we'll also know it's not working. So this should be just an empty string right now. So then we save that and then start typing.
I need to reload.
Hit refresh. There you go. Then there you go. You now have reactive properties, right? So you're now tracking your text. But this is not the cool part. What we really want is to be able to filter our wish list based on what users are typing. And so this is where computed properties are a really big thing in Vue and really make a huge difference when it comes to managing data. And so if we scroll down into our script block, what we want to do is we want to actually, next to data, underneath data, we're going to define a computed option. And so that's going to take an object of different properties without computed. Yes, computed property.
Good. Okay.
So this will be an object which will contain all the properties that we want to track. So yep, just like that. And let's call it a filtered wish list. Let's be very explicit. This is what this is. And it'll be a function because we're going to return something from it. So in this case, I don't use the arrow function because it's going to reset the this context. This is the one thing about the options API that's a little bit more magical. And so here, so in this case, for example, what we want to be able to do is say return this dot filter text for now, because I think I need to demonstrate what's happening. So and then do this dot filter text plus, and then just add a string that's like boop. Okay, and so now so this computed property, if you think of it as it's a reactive data property that then watches dependencies and will update and cache itself accordingly based on the calculation that it does.
So to just trace what's happening here, we define filter text as being an empty string. Then when we use vModel, we're saying, hey, this input should look at the value of filter text as an initial value. And if I change the input, it should update the value of filter text accordingly. And then computed says, anytime the data changes, run this function and reset this value.
Yep, exactly.
And then can I just use this as as a normal value?
Yep. So if we go in our HTML, and then we just add again a p element, and then we say filter. Was it filtered wish list? I
copy pasted that to make sure.
So now if we type, you'll see that Vue has taken care of this piece now. So it knows that this is a dependency, and as it updates, it will then update everywhere else.
That's really nice. Okay.
And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to use this now. So inside of our filtered wish list, so we're going to return is this. So this context is the one thing that's the one magical thing about.
So I can just write JavaScript in here, right?
Yep, you can just write JavaScript.
Yeah,
so that's
I
really
like it
what
when
Vue
I can write
tries
JavaScript.
Vue tries to give you a little bit, especially with the options API. So I think Jason knows what he's doing, so I'll talk while he's setting up the filter function. But basically, it tries to give you some conventions that help you with basically most of the use cases you often have to encounter. But then in the event you want to break out of it, there are certainly escape hatches, and you can define things manually. So in the instance of template, for those who want to programmatically generate the template, we have a render function for you as well. And if you want JSX, there's a plugin to integrate that in. And so there are escape hatches in Vue to do things however you need to do it, suited to the problem. We just know that a lot of times, most of the time you're trying to do this one thing. And so rather than make you recreate that function every time or debate whether or not to use a for each or a map or a for loop, like that's why we have V4. It takes care of the performance for you, and you just focus on looping through and solving the problems that matter to you.
Oops, I'm doing this wrong.
Okay.
So if the gift label contains this, then we're going to return. Wait, what am I doing? No, I was right. I was right the first time. Why didn't that work?
Right. Should it be includes?
Is it includes?
I might be wrong.
I mean, no, nope, you were right. But now it's, because I'm putting it out here. So then instead of this, I should just have to say filtered wish list instead.
Yep. Now type.
No.
Do the things. You mistyped.
Wait, no, I didn't.
Capital F?
F?
What are we checking?
Oh, it's case sensitive. So I need to make it case insensitive. Okay. Okay.
Is it still adding the boop? We can make it add the boop, Cecilia. If you want.
Gift label to lowercase, and then we'll take search equals this filter text to lowercase, and then we'll say if label includes search. And so now it should be case insensitive, or I broke it. Got to return this.
Yes.
Okay. So now I should be able to say Furby, Cyclops. We should be able to get like Bop It, Transformers. But if we search Prime, then we get okay, cool. So we've got ourselves a filterable list, and that was like the hardest part of that was remembering how JavaScript works, which is always that's a good sign, right? Like we didn't have to do any magic in the framework. We were able to just say, I want to get a list of the GIFs that match the search text. So that's really nice.
That's it. And so now you have using a computer property to dynamically filter through, and you don't have to worry about it does all the caching and everything for you. Don't even have to think about it. Yeah,
that is really, really nice. So I think then I'm a little worried about time. So the next thing here is we were going to try to do votes, but maybe what we should do first is deployment.
Okay, yes, let's deploy it.
Yeah, so let's take this thing up, and then if we can get everything running, we will. But for now, we'll see how far we can get. So I'm going to use the UI for this. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to stop my task. Okay, so that's stopped. I can reload. Good. Come out here. Looks like my UI is still running, which is to be expected. Do I stop the UI service, or?
I usually just kill it in the terminal.
You just kill it down here. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
wasn't sure if there was a button.
Yeah, and then it says disconnected.
So now we have all of our stuff. So if I look out here, let's actually use the Git UI. So we've got this whole mess of things. And is it gonna try to get? It's ignoring all the stuff that we wanted to ignore already. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so if I just git add everything, then that puts us in our app is saved. We've got images, got the Babel config, no node modules, no Git folder, no anything that we wouldn't want to save. Images are going in. Here are our components. Good. So then the other thing that we would need to do is we'll commit this and we'll say filterable list. And then we can push that to origin, and that's going to be at this repo here. Look, I got GitHub dark mode.
Ooh, nice.
They just shipped this today, and I'm really excited about it.
That is super nice.
Yeah, it looks really good. But yeah, so this is now up on GitHub, but it's not published. So to publish it, I have the Netlify CLI, and we can just like Netlify init. And we want to, oh wait, we need to do this a little bit differently because we have an app folder. So I'm going to first create netlify.toml, and that's going to end up in here. And then if I look at these folders, what we have in here is we're going to have to tell it where to go because it's not the main directory. So we can set the base to app. And then we'll make our command. What's the vue build command?
So
build.
Netlify, I know when I do it through the UI, it auto detects most of it, I think, usually. But yeah, I think since we're defining, it's build.
We'll go npm run build, and then we want to publish
dist.
Dist.
The dist folder, I believe.
Okay, we don't have functions yet, so I'll leave those out. And that should be good enough. So then, now that we've got that, you can see all of those bits are there. So I'm going to git add all of that, git commit, and we'll say chore add netlify toml. We'll push that. Then I can netlify init, because now when we init, it'll know to get to the app folder instead of trying to build and run from the root, which is where we were now. So let's netlify init. We're going to create and configure a new site. We'll put it on my team. We're going to call this, I gave it a name out here, so I'm going to go look at it before I get this wrong. We named it Vue gift list. Okay. Dist. And there we go. Okay. So then if I go out here to app.netlify.com, not that site, this site, then it should be building. And this, I think, will just take a few seconds because we just got to install the dependencies real quick. It's a good time for some hold music, chat. Hint, hint.
Well, I guess in this case, there is a question from Linda about composition API, which I think while we're waiting, it might be a good time to answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that those who have followed Vue 3 have heard about the composition API. And so if I were to give a elevator pitch for what composition API is, today what we worked with is what is traditionally known as the options API.
And that's just not something I'm willing to do.
Basically has you...
You're getting trolled. Sorry, that was not that was not directed at you. That was directed at me.
It is all good. And so what we saw and built with Jason today is the options API, which is what most people know from Vue 2. And basically, it gives you a convention for how to build Vue apps. So as we saw, like data goes here, computer goes here, and later we'll be seeing methods. But basically, composition API takes that and basically says, here's an open block, and then write it however you want. And so in that regard, I think people who are familiar with React will be probably a bit more comfortable because there's a little bit like hooks in that regard. So you have to manually define your data, your compute, those sort of things. And so we actually will have an episode on Learn with Jason on composition API. I think it's next month, Jason, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let's go take a look. It is coming up on January 19th. Yes. You'll be coming back, and that whole episode is going to be built around the composition API. So that is going to be a whole lot of fun. Make sure you mark your calendar. Remember, you can get the Learn with Jason schedule added to your calendar. If I remember correctly, here. Let me check this first. I think it's lwj.dev/calendar. Nope, not that one. Oh God. What is it, everyone? There it is. Okay, it is https jason.af/lwj/cal. That is the URL. So if you click that, it's going to take you to the calendar, and you will be there. It'll be great. We'll all have a great time. So now we've got this, and we've got about 25 minutes. Do you think we can get a database up and running and updating in 25 minutes?
Yeah, we got this.
All right, I believe it. I believe we can do it. Let's get Hasura going. I'm going to pull up another browser for Hasura because I'm already logged in it. And that will make us a little bit faster. So let's go to Cloud, Hasura Projects. And then we're going to create a new project. This is not an episode on Hasura. We do have one with Tanmay Gopal, who's one of the creators. I would highly recommend checking that one out if you're interested in what we're doing today.
Yep.
Okay, US East Ohio, that's the free tier. So this is all going to be set up for free. We're going to use Heroku so that our database is also automatically configured for us for free. Create this project. Okay, so then I'm going to go in here and we're going to add once this finishes initializing.
And so I guess in the meantime, while for those wondering, the Options API and Composition API are both equally valid. It's not that the Composition API replaces the options and vice versa. They can be used side by side, and we recommend still doing what's best for your team.
Nice. So I'm going to just set up an admin secret, and I'm going to use something that no one will ever guess. Haha. Okay, so I've got this admin secret. And now that I've got that, I can launch this console. And I'm going to go into... Come on, Internet. Today's not the day. We're on a schedule here. There we go. Here we go. We're moving. Oh, you can do it.
It's going.
Come on, little compooper. All right, getting authorized. Internet killing me right now. Okay, so we're going to go to this data tab. Come on. Come on. Here we go. We're going. Hello? Anyone? Hey, Cassidoo, thank you so much for the sub. Okay, so now I'm going to create a table. We're going to call this table, what did we call it? Whatever, we'll call it votes. That seems fine. And we're going to vote for an ID. Fine. That is going to be, how did you key these? Are they just like...
they're just integers, I think.
Integers? No, they are UUIDs.
Oh, sorry, the ID. Yeah, but you can do whatever. Obviously, we can replace that. That was just
whatever. I'm gonna store them as text, and I don't really. We'll make them unique, and that's fine. Yeah. And then we'll do votes, and that's going to be an integer, and the default value is 0. Good. All right. Primary key is going to be IDs. I'm going to add that table, and then once we have that, we will have a basic setup for our. Once this reloads. There we go, for our votes. So now we'll be able to search for the ID and votes for an individual thing. Right now it's going to be an empty array. What was that? What was that button? Why did that happen? We're going over here. Yeah. Boy, my internet just decided to like really slow it on down today. So what we'll get back is this data. And so I'm going to name this one wish list votes. That will be how we store our votes. And then if we want to create votes, I'm going to move this out actually. So we need two things. We're going to create a folder called functions. I'm going to create this in app because we set our base there. And in this, we're going to say load votes. And that one is going to use this query. And then we also need one called add votes. We got 20 minutes on the clock. Can we do it?
We got this.
Okay, so then to add a vote, I'm going to use a mutation. And what we will do is we will insert votes 1. And can we update columns increment? Or do I need to do like a update votes? Yeah, we'll do update votes by primary key. So we're going to update votes by primary key. And this will be interesting to see if this works on a non-existing piece. So let's grab one of these. And we'll say here, we want to increment votes by 1. And then we'll just get back the ID and the votes. And so what this will do is it will say, I want to update the votes by its primary key. That's what by PK means. The primary key is the ID. We want to use its ID, which is whatever we set in our little JSON database. And then we're going to increment that by 1. And if we're lucky, this isn't going to explode. Is it going to do it? I'm not sure if this is going to work because it might need to exist before it'll run. And if it needs to exist, then I'm just going to insert these really quickly so that we don't have to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Come on, y'all. Oh, Hasura, you're killing me right now.
Just there.
That progress bar is a lie. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Did we hit an outage? That'd be a sad end to this stream. Guess we'll find out shortly.
We can always stub the vote if we need to for now.
That's true. If we need to, we can stub it. Sad trombone indeed. Womp, 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 womp. Okay, so votes by PK. I'm going to try this one more time. If this doesn't work, we will just stub it. So I'm going to update votes by PK. We've got this one, increment by 1, and we'll get back the ID and the vote. So let's run this. And it doesn't work because there is no data in the database.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
So to fake this, we can actually just go in here and insert these rows.
Sounds good.
And to do that, I'm going to pull up our database here, close that, and then I can grab this one and we will insert. So boom, save. And that'll initialize at 1 because we set a default value. Then do it again, save. Is it doing it? Yes, it is. Okay. So then we've got, I might only do like 3 of these and then we can stub the rest out.
Yep, makes sense.
Ooh, good clip, Chris. That's going to become, that'll be a sound effect. Okay, so we've got our first 3, the pizza shooter van, the Cyclops, and the Furby we'll be able to vote on. Everything else will break if we try to vote on it, but we're going to be okay with that. So then what that means is that if we run this mutation, it will update. This is the pizza shooter van. Now it has a vote of 1. If we run it again, it has a vote of 2. Okay, so that's the way we want this to work. So we're going to take this out here and we will blow this up, head over to add votes, and we're going to do one quick thing, which is to make this a, what did we call it? We called it text. And instead of using a hard-coded value, we'll use a variable. Okay, so to send these, what we can do is we're going to have a serverless function. So we're going to exports handler, and that will give us an async function, or we're going to declare an async function. And in this case, we're going to get the event. We will post an ID, so we can get that out by JSON parsing event.body. And then we can, I'm going to use a little helper actually that I've written for doing Hasura stuff, because otherwise it takes a long time to get all of this done. And we want to get this done quickly. So let's get, this is a work in progress of the new Learn with JSON site, but in it, I have Hasura utility. And what this does is it creates an ability to send a Hasura request. It uses the fetch API to the Hasura URL, and then it makes a post request with the Hasura admin secret and the body, which is the query and variables. So this is our GraphQL query. This is any variables we need to send. And then if it fails, it'll return empty. Otherwise, it'll return our data. And so I'm going to copy this. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes. Ooh, we can do this. All right. So then
we can totally do this.
I'm going to create a new file, util.hasura.js. We'll paste this in here. And that means I need these values. So I'm going to go over to Netlify. And here in my site settings, I'm going to go to build and deploy, environment, edit variables. I'm going to drop, whoops, not that. I'm going to drop the Hasura URL in, and that Hasura URL is going to match our Explorer API right here. So I'm going to copy this, and we'll put that into here. Then we need that Hasura API or admin secret here. And you'll never guess it. Then we've got those set. So then I can come back out here. And now that we've got those set, then these are going to, I need to do one more thing, which is install node fetch. So I'm going to go into app, and we will npm install node fetch so that Hasura utility works. Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to go out to add votes, and we're going to import Hasura request. And that comes from util Hasura. Okay, and then down here, we can say const data equals await Hasura request, and we're going to pass in a query and variables. And our variable is going to be the ID. Our query is going to be this. Okay, so that is the mutation part, and then we're going to return that. So we will return a status code of 200, and the body will be a stringified data. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Then we got to do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to copy paste the whole shebang and drop it down at the bottom. We are going to drop this part that we don't need anymore. And I'm instead going to get this. Good. We don't need an ID anymore because we're getting all of them. And we don't have any variables, so I'm going to pass in an empty object. And that should give us all of our wish list votes. So let's test this. And I think we should be able to test it by going out here and just running netlify dev, I think. Nope, doesn't like it because
we are in app, I believe.
We are not in app, but it doesn't like no server detected and no command specified. Interesting.
Because our package.json is in app though, right? Isn't that why it's...
Oh, is it? Okay, so we'll go app.
Yeah, I think our package.json. Yeah.
Starting a development server.
That's weird.
Okay, so then up here, I can go to netlify functions. What did I call this? Load votes.
Yeah, load votes.
Well, that's not right. .netlify. What? Is there some kind of a universal redirect that we missed?
Because we only have one package.json, right? It's not. There's not another one.
Oh, I wonder. I think it might be. Do
we just want to move everything out then? I mean, we just select everything out and just drop it out.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the easiest thing. So let's do this. Yeah. I'm going to what is it? Copy
Commit.
a app to here.
Oh, nice. I literally just in VS Code manually drag it.
I think that'll do everything. About to find out. Ooh.
It looks right. Oh, wait. Did it not move?
I don't know. It's still moving. Oh, God. Oh, God. What have I done? I should have deleted node modules first.
Oh, that's right.
And it's so we've still got the git. We still got the git ignore. Everything is here. And then I think if I update the netlify.toml, oh boy, 10 minutes.
Yes.
We can do this. We can do this. I'm going to take this out.
We can do this.
And I'm going to add a functions directory. Okay. Then we're going to run netlify dev. And this is going to work on the first try. Okay, function server is listening.
Trust.
Come on, come on, come on.
Okay.
Well, it didn't immediately redirect. That's good. My internet, oh man, my computer sounds like it's about to take off. Are we, well, we might be timing out because Hasura is going slow for us today.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we are having those issues.
Oh, Hasura. I think we might be out of luck because we got to wait for that outage to, whatever the delay is, has to get cleaned up.
Well, then we can at least show how it would work.
Yeah,
we
let's
can
stub
assume, it. Yep. So this is where we can learn about the events with Vue. So here, yes, to do, actually use serverless. Sounds good.
Okay. And we can do that as like an update later. In the meantime,
that works for me. In the meantime, so if we scroll up into our template, what we want to do is basically inside for the button, we are going to learn about the on directive. So if you do v-on inside the button, and then the event name that we want, so :click in this case, then we can assign it to a JavaScript function, which we'll define in a little bit. So we can call it like, submit vote or something.
Okay.
And then so for those who have, so v-on is the explicit way of doing it, but typically it's done with the @ symbol. So if you prepend click with the @ symbol, this is what you're more likely to see inside of Vue apps.
Okay.
So that's how you know that it's an event.
Nice.
So if we scroll down now into our script block, let's say below computed now, we're going to define another option called methods. So this will be basically a series of functions that we allow Vue to track and reference. And so we called it, I think, submit vote is what you called it.
Submit vote.
Yep.
And then does this also need to be a function like this?
This also needs to be a regular function if you want to be able to refer to other properties inside of.
And does it get an event like usual?
It does. It does get an event like usual if you need it. But you can also do a payload as well. So those are options. But typically then you would basically go like, oh, you want to prevent default? No. Jason, we don't do that in Vue. You can delete that line because what we're going to do is you go up to the top. So delete the prevent default and scroll up into the HTML. Events have modifiers. So if you do the .prevent on the click, it will then automatically prevent default for, and just save. That's it.
Okay.
And so modifiers are a common way to do these sort of once, like these common things that happen. So whether you want it to only like the event to trigger once, double click, or not even double click. There are other modifiers too, but modifiers are supposed to take care of those common scenarios. Okay. Oh, a common one is like key up. So if you do like key up, you can also do like .enter so that it only fires the key up on enter so that you don't have to manually do the if statement. So that's where the modifiers come in.
Yeah. And so what we're going to need to do on this is we would need to send the ID in, which we don't currently have. So if I need to pass the ID into submit vote, how would I do that?
Yeah, I would just, so next to submit vote, do the parentheses, open it up, and then we're going to drop in the, gif.id. I think that should be it.
Really?
That should be it, because I think it'll give you the, we have to just check real quick, but it either will override the payload but we'll see. So we just console log, that'll tell us. I usually have to do this every single time.
Okay. So then we can come back out here. I can open up Where's my regular local host? There we go.
Go back, I guess. There we go.
And then
so click
I'm
on any
going
one of those.
to open this, and let's
Yep.
console log a wish.
Is it? It should have clicked something. Is it?
It's not doing anything. Okay, let's debug. We've got like 2 minutes to debug this.
Yeah, we do have 2 minutes to debug. Yeah, so we do have the local server running.
I think so.
That's the only.
I mean, I can't
too.
imagine this wouldn't be running otherwise, right? Because we're running Netlify dev. Does that matter?
No, it shouldn't. I haven't run into an issue with that. So just do the plain text. Forget like pulling out the payload.
Wait.
Oh, is that 80? Nope.
No, that seems right, doesn't it?
These are all warnings.
Okay. What did you want me to do?
Just instead of pulling out the ID, just do console log like hello. Just like it feels like something's not pulling though, unless the prevent shouldn't be doing anything.
That's definitely wrong. Hello.
Hello. Yep. So it is refreshing, but if we scroll up and then we are assigning it on the button.
I think so.
Remove the prevent for now. Submit vote.
And I don't need to like do one of these.
No, it knows what to look for. Okay, just take out the payload too. Just do submit vote without the parentheses. Let's make it even simpler. Save.
Okay.
What is going on?
I'm worried that it's like serving the. I'm worried that it's. What is it? Is it develop?
Oh, run serve.
I'm a little worried that that Netlify dev is not configured to actually run serve, and so like some of the hot reloading or something is missing.
Oh.
So it's 8080. Nope, not that.
This is bewildering.
So we've got the button click.
And then just update the wish for this and just make sure the text is changing. Test. Yep.
What's broken? What did we do?
Something
oh my God, broken. I know what we did. We're
in the wrong VS Code.
We're in the
file
wrong
is in the app.
See what we get for trying to be clever at the last possible second. Okay, I'm gonna copy this one. I'm gonna move out to this one. Save. And now doesn't like I broke something.
IDs is fine, but never used. That's fine. That's the main one. The error is the main one that's erroring stuff out.
That's fine. So we'll the ID is in here.
Oh yeah, just take that out for now. Save.
Okay, so now it's doing the thing. So let's try all that again. So we're gonna
let's
do
try that one more time.
Gift. What a okay. Then we should get the ID. And then we would get the ID. And there it is. Nice. Okay. Boom. So then what we would do is we would send a fetch to our serverless function.
Yep.
And that would allow us to update the votes. And with that, unfortunately, we're out of time.
Yes, we are.
I'll tell you what we can do with this is we will probably clean this up. I imagine that either Ben or I will turn this into an article or something to finish that up. But yeah, cool. Ben, where should people go other than your Twitter if they want to find you online?
Yeah, you can find me at bencodezen.io. I'm on all I think I claimed all the stuff like YouTube. I'm even on TikTok now, believe it or not.
Oh,
but yeah. So bencodezen on all the things, and you can find me there.
Excellent. So yeah, go check out Ben. Make sure you go check out Vue. Remember it's v3.vuejs.org if you want to use the V3 stuff that we did today. And definitely go play with this Vue CLI and Vue UI. Like what a great experience that was. Make sure you go and check out our schedule. We've got some really, really fun stuff coming up. Later this week, Emma Bastian is coming on. We're going to argue about Taco Bell for 90 minutes. That's going to be an absolute blast. Lindsay Levine is going to come on the show, and we're going to learn how to play Minecraft. And that's not programming at all. We're literally going to play the game Minecraft. It's going to be amazing. And then Jay is going to come on. We're going to do something real fun and whimsical with SVG animations and GSAP. It's going to be an absolute blast. So with all of that, please go mark your calendars. Remember, you can find us on all the lwj.dev stuff, but go add that to your calendar. And remember that our show is sponsored by Netlify, by Fauna, by Auth0, and by our new sponsor, Hasura. So make sure you go and check them out. And what the captions today were provided by Rachel at White Coat Captioning. With that, Ben, thank you so much. Chat, thank you for hanging out. Stay tuned. We're going to go raid someone. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.